Hi everyone, good evening. Hope you all are doing good.
Good evening, Nisha.
Good evening, Nishant. How are
Good
you?
evening, everybody.
Hi, Sudhir. Hi,
Hi
Nishan.
guys,
Good evening,
I'm
everyone.
doing good. Okay, without getting delay, we'll
Good
we'll
evening,
get
everyone.
started. Good evening. Let me share my screen. Um, okay, before we start, I would like to take project. Okay, so I'll have one tab wherein I'll take queries. If you have any queries from the previous class, anyone?
Nissan, not related to class one, but I have question like, will it be the same time for all 3 months, or it can be changed, or as per our schedule, or how it will work?
Okay. See, for this week, we are keeping, we did, we are doing Wednesday,
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday, and Friday. Timing would be 8:30 p.m. Okay. From next week, it will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Timing would be same because I think this would suit for everyone.
Okay.
And we'll try to wind up our course within 2 months, or it might take 1 week extra, 1 or 2 week extra. That is our
Okay.
plan.
Okay.
Nishant, a small
Okay.
question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand with reference to, we understood that the BA will be responsible for doing the BRD
Mm-hmm.
or FRD. What about
Mm-hmm.
making project plans or let's say the business case stuff? So is that something that project manager will do, or is that going to be a BA's responsibility?
Okay. So about project plan and everything, you rightly answered that it's the responsibility of project manager that he will create a project plan, but will cover in our training that when that
Okay,
part will come. So
sure.
there is a one dedicated class for BA deliverables, how to create it, and all those will cover there.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're
Nishant,
welcome.
hi, this is Salman here. Don't I got the folder for the last session,
Mm-hmm.
but cannot access it. So I request 2 times. Can someone
Okay,
have a
no
look?
worries. No worries. You can, okay, I'll ask Tia to look into it. I hope you have posted your this query in the group,
Oh,
in our
where
WhatsApp
where it?
group. You're part of WhatsApp group?
I don't think so. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Anyways, I'll ask
You
Sudesh to
can
add me to
paste.
the group. Yeah.
Sure, sure. For any queries, you can reach out to Tia or Sam. And most probably you will be added to a WhatsApp group. You can paste your queries there. We'll quickly revert
Hello,
there.
I grant your access already.
Okay, it's sorted, Silvan. You can check it later on and let us know
Yep.
in
I'll
case you're
just check
still
it now. See.
okay.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. I think we are good to start our session. So,
Nishad, one last question. So,
mhm.
first three sessions are we getting free. So, how to move forward after that?
After that you will have to pay, I think, and then from next week onwards you will get information about, as I mentioned, it will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 p.m.
Yeah,
And,
but how can I get that information?
oh, okay. For that, you can reach out to Tia or Sudesh. Just
How? But
have a
with the same email which we are getting the
right,
meeting.
right, right,
Okay.
right. Or maybe you can directly. You must be having their contact, right? You can reach out to them.
Just
No,
want to
I don't have
confirm
any.
if there is a WhatsApp group already created. Can someone confirm?
Tia, can you please
Yeah,
check?
there's a WhatsApp
Yes.
group for everyone.
Um, we have
Yeah, I
a
don't have
WhatsApp
any
group
WhatsApp group.
already.
I think
Uh,
I'm not added. I'll ask Sudesh to add me then.
No worries, no worries. Salman, you can reach out to Tia. Please ping Tia or Sudesh one-to-one.
yep. Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, fine.
Thanks, Nisha.
Okay, done. In the last class, we understood about BA's responsibility. Now, we understood what BA would be doing, right? What part? But the next thing is where BA would be performing these responsibilities. That is short of project, right? So now we need to understand what are projects, what are the types of project, and what are the phases of a project, right? And what BA would be doing in all those phases. Okay, so let's understand what is a project, right? And how BA fits into the different phases of a project. So every project follows a structure path from start to completion. So if I talk about any project, there will be a starting point and then there will be an ending point, right? Now, what could be the different types of project? So let me first explain. It defines how a project is planned, executed, monitored, closed. For a business analyst, understanding the life cycle ensures proper alignment and timing for deliverables. So, on a very high level, you can expect these kind of phases: initiation, planning phase, execution phase, then monitoring, and then closure. Right. Now, let's understand the life cycle of a project. For example, first I'll take one example, a layman example, then I'll connect it with the ServiceNow. Suppose you have purchased home, right? So there are two parts of it. First is building of home, you know, right? Building of home from scratch, right? First there will be a land, then on land there will you will uh, I mean, not you, but someone will gather the building material, then they will start assembling it, they will put into it, then there will be electricity and all the common facilities. And then once we reach here, like house, your home is ready, then you will be part of it. Like you will enter into home, will start living into it. But even after this point, when this home is ready and you will start living into it, after then also, there is something that is still needed in this home. That is known as maintenance, right? Maybe something is not working or you need some fix, right? Door is not opening or any issues. So that maintenance part is also part of this home, right? So before the home is built and after the home is built, there are two parts. Now let's bring it to an IT. Take this example to an IT, right? Suppose someone says that we want to implement ServiceNow. So understand one part of one project, one type of project is implementation. Implementation can be from scratch. right? Right now, there is no ServiceNow in their environment of this client, and they want ServiceNow to be there. So one type of project is implementation project. I will highlight here, right? Second type is they already have ServiceNow, but they want to add new feature, or maybe they want a new product in ServiceNow. So in that part, it is known as enhancement. That maybe today they just have a basic service now they want to bring in AI use cases, generative AI, or they want to bring in automation. That is known as enhancement. Now, third part is project support, or we can call it maintenance. Project support maintenance is a project wherein you already have delivered ServiceNow. ServiceNow is implemented. Now there are some fixes needed. Maybe something is not working, so you will raise a ticket. Now then ServiceNow admin will come and fix it. Or maybe something you want to change something. So that would be taken care in project support and maintenance. Then there is one more type, which is known as upgradation. Upgradation is maybe today you are using ServiceNow and you want to upgrade it to a new version, right? Or maybe we will talk about it. Upgradation, we'll talk about it later on. Right now, there is a term that you might not understand, but just take it from this example that we all have mobile phone and there is a OS upgrade, right? Maybe it's on, if I talk about Android, so they have different OS. I think they started from A, then they went to B, then it was Ginger, Oxygen. So they keep on adding new OS upgrade. So ServiceNow also has some new versions. So right now the version that is up is Zurich. So you will have to upgrade to a new version. I'll talk about these versions maybe in after 1 week when we'll start a ServiceNow. Then last part is migration. Migration is maybe you have some data on one tool and you are moving to a different tool. For example, yesterday we talked about that Jira also has ITSM. Now customer is saying, I am okay using ITSM in Jira, but it is not giving me benefit. So I want to move to ServiceNow and I want to use ITSM there. So in this case, you are migrating from legacy to ServiceNow, from one tool to another tool. What they're expecting is that this data should still be there on ServiceNow. So that is migration projects, right? So most of the time you will be part of one of these projects. Now let's talk about the complexity. Which one is complex and which one is a simple project? So if I talk about this implementation project, this needs a good amount of, if I give the priority or if I tell you that which will take more time. So implementation project usually take more times because you are building from scratch. Then migration projects, or I'll call it maybe this one. Enhancement are the easy projects. Not that easy, but still you can do it. Project supported maintenance are the easiest one, but it will have less strength. Then upgradation also can be done easily. Migration might take some time. So that's how it is. So understand you will be part of any of these project when you're joining any ServiceNow team or when you are joining any of those project. So let's understand part of any of the project. Suppose you are joining a project, as I mentioned, if I can go back to my slide, there is an initiation phase. In initiation phase, you will get to know about the scope of project. Like what is it that you want to do in this project, right? As you are asking Sashwati was asking about the project plan. A project plan will be there, that what would be the different phases, who would be performing what activities. Like BA is expected to do requirement gathering, architect is supposed to do designing, developer is supposed to do development, right? Testers would be doing testing. So that is what is defined in the initiation. What is the scope of project? What is the project plan, project objectives, right? What are the goals of the project? What is it that you want to achieve from the project? And certainly there will be workshops. In workshops, you would want to connect with the client and want to understand their, as I mentioned yesterday, as is and all of those starting point. So this is all you will do in initiation, right? Once this is done in initiation, then in the planning, you will have your user stories created. Uh, there will be process flow, process diagrams or process flows will be created. There will be technical design will be created by technical architect, right? This technical design is created and user stories are created. Then you have decided that if you are doing it in agile way, that in next sprint, what all stories will be delivered. So you will make a plan for next 1 or 2 months and who all resources would be part of those sprint and how they will be delivering. So that is all you will do in planning. Then comes the execution when actual development will start. Then comes monitoring and control. When you will start monitoring what is the outcome of those, right? And then we'll do UAT. After we get a sign off, we'll complete this project, which is known as project is delivered and it is up and live in prod, right? Here, users can start using the service now and they will start getting the real benefit. So these are your typical phases. Now understand initiation, planning, execution, monitoring control, and closure. It is not necessary that you will always be part of a project in the starting phase. Maybe you have joined a company wherein previous BA has left at this point and you are joining at planning. Or maybe you're joining at execution, right? You can be at any of the stage. So the first question whenever you are joining a project, you will ask is, what is the current phase of the project? Are we done with the requirement gathering? Are we done with the planning? Or what phase we are into, right? That will give you a good clarity. Now, what is the clarity you will get? Suppose you joined here at the execution. So you know that requirement gathering is already done. User stories are already created. So first thing you will do is ask for these things. Please share the project plan. Tell me what is the scope. Tell me what is it that we gathered in the requirement phase. Right. That will give you a good clarity and help you to do rest of the operations in the project lifecycle. If I move to the next slide, which now I'll explain each of these in detail. Like in initiation, as I mentioned, you will identify business goal, you will define scope, you will understand the stakeholder. See, this is one of the important part in initiation, that you need to understand the stakeholders. Why do you need to understand the stakeholders? Since there is, as I mentioned, there are two sides. One is vendor on your end, and then there is client side. On the client side, you need to understand who would be there with you in the complete project, right? From starting to ending. First, who will help you with the requirements that we need this or we need some other thing. Then you need to understand who is going to provide a sign off on those requirements, that yes, the requirements that we have gathered are good and we can go ahead. Then there is someone who can help you with the approvals and Approvals and sign-offs are usually same, but this second approval is also on the access to their environment. Suppose there is an integration between ServiceNow and I will call it Workday. Workday is an HR tool, right? Once you join any company, most probably you will be providing your updates or your documents or on the Workday itself. Your onboarding process would be done on Workday, right? So if you're doing an integration between ServiceNow and Workday, so you need to have an access on Workday. You need to have an access on ServiceNow as well because this is in client's environment. So someone who can help you with these requirements. So that is why you need to understand their stakeholders, like who will provide you sign off, who will help you with the access, who is the product owner, who will guide you that what is it that they're expected in the product, right? Who is from the delivery team who will tell you what is it that they're doing today. So this becomes an integral part of your initiation phase. Stakeholders, understanding scope, project plan will be shared by your project managers. If not, then first thing you will do is create a project plan with your project manager. In that, the primary responsibility of creating project plan would be your project manager. You will help them. Then there are objectives, goals. So that is my initiation. For example, if you are gathering background of why do you need ITSM, what is it that is required, what is the objective, right? Second is planning and design. In planning, whatever you have gathered, you will document it. That you will prepare FRD, BRD, and aligned with the project goals. Maybe you will create user stories, there will be process diagram, right? There will be discovery sessions. So there are multiple sessions. Like one is you might have a workshop with multiple stakeholders. You can have a workshop of demo wherein you will ask them, tell us how do you create a request, or you can have a workshop of their current environments assessment, right? Or there can be one-to-one interviews as well. Interviews are nothing but suppose you want to connect only with a single person who can help you get more information about the project. So in that way, you can connect one-to-one. After planning phase is over, your stories are created, your design are created, documents are prepared, right? And you have a sign off. Then here comes the execution. In execution, you will have a validation of all the information that has been shared with you, that you have right access or you are ready to work. You will start the development and then QA. Since now, one of the important part is now understand the contribution of a BA in a project in the different phases. In the starting phase, I would say 80% of the work, or I will call it 70% of the work will be done by BA. Here also BA would be around 70 to 80%. But as and when we start moving to the rest of the phases, BA's responsibilities will be decreasing. As in the input will be not that much. Maybe here it will come to 50% or maybe less than that. Then here also it will come drop to 40%. And the last part, it will drop to 30%. Now, why we are calling this the initial? See, it's like there is a path. That path is created by BA in the initial two phases. Then rest of the team can walk on that path. What is that path? That what is my project? What is my scope? Who are my stakeholders? What is it that I want to create or develop? And what is the process? Right. So this is all you will do in the initiation phase. Now, as and when I move to the execution, which is development and testing, you will be just validating, you will just validate whether all of my developers and testers have right access or not. If not, then who will help them? Who will help them? You will get from these stakeholders. Second, if they are doing some user stories, if they are developing something, if they are stuck somewhere, they are not able to understand functionality, Maybe you will pitch in and help them with those development. And if they are blocked somewhere, you will help them to unblock those points. In testing, you will maintain, you will do the coordination, you will help them complete testing, you will bring the UAT testers. So here it is more of a coordination. But if you want to take one step ahead and want to help them technically, you can. That is totally up to individual's choice. But I can tell you one thing, that whenever you are into development phase or testing phase, see, some of the clients are, very careful about how their licenses are being used. So they do not want to give the developer role to everyone, or tester role. At least you can get tester role, but developer role will not be given to everyone. So that way, you are already being spared from doing the development activities. But if a developer is stuck at some point, maybe they are not able to find how do I integrate ServiceNow with Workday. So you can always facilitate that communication with the right stakeholder. Maybe if you're part of a company that has a practice for ServiceNow, so you can take help from the practice, or you can take help outside as well of company. That I'll tell you, that if in case you are stuck somewhere technically or functionally, how to reach out for help, how to reach out for support. I will, once we move to the ServiceNow part, I'll tell you what are our different sources, or I would say resources that can help us. Once this development and testing is over, you have received a sign off. Then comes this track progress, manage scope changes. Here you will be part of, see, this is your internal testing, QA would be doing, and then you will validate everything that, you will secure sign off, you will maintain that all requirements are traced and all requirements are covered, right? After this, you will move to the UAT phase, and then sign off, and then you will implement. And then there will be a final handover wherein all the expectations that were built here in the initiation, that these will be your deliverables, this is what you need to complete, you will share a summary of everything, or you will share all the documentation that you have prepared, and what are the lessons that you have learned during this complete project life cycle, right? So in this part, you will finally hand over everything. Now, after implementation is completed, this is up to the client whether they want to retain you for support, or they want to have a different vendor for support. If they retain you for support, then only few of your admins, maybe one or two admin, depending on the scope. The scope can be, see, understand what is the meaning of scope. Scope can be large, it can be medium, it can be small. The meaning of scope is, for example, the client is saying that I want to implement ITSM. ITSM has 5 to 6 applications like IM, PM, CM. I'll talk about all of these terms. What is IM, PM, CM? Suppose client is saying that I only want to implement IM and CM of ITSM. So that becomes that my scope is small. If I want to implement end-to-end, that is my complete ITSM, that is a large scope. If they are saying that along with ServiceNow, along with ITSM, I also want to implement HRSD. So that slowly and gradually my scope is increasing. At the same time, I also want to understand, first is scope, then second, I want to understand the duration. If the client is saying that, you have to deliver everything in 6 months, or maybe they're saying everything in 3 months. Now, if you have to deliver a large scope within 6 months, maybe you can manage with X resource. But if you have to deliver large scope in 3 months, then you need 2X resources. It means that in a project, you can have stakeholders, like you can have a single PA, or you can have a multiple PA as well. I will be talking about this in detail. There is a class for stakeholder management, right? So you can have a single PA, you can have a multiple PA, you can have single project manager, multiple project manager. But now you know the logic why a project will have multiple PA or single PA. That is all due to the scope and duration. Right, this is simple logic that if you have to deliver a large chunk in small time, you need twice manpower. If both of them are, I can call it scope is then scope and duration, right? So if scope is large and duration is small, then your manpower will be more. And if both of them are same, then you will need average. As in you can manage with single project manager, B and all. All of these things will be done already before you join a project. That is known as pre-sales, before a project is created. Right? How this project will come to you. So that is part of pre-sales. Now I'll also talk about pre-sales as well, but for now, just I think this is good enough for you to understand the different part of a phase, different phase of a project. Now next part is SDLC, software development lifecycle, right? In a typical project or typical companies, you will see this is what they call it when you're developing a software development lifecycle. The phases would involve this requirement gathering, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, maintenance. And as I mentioned, first three stages, if you look at requirement, analysis, design, will have more focus from BA. You will make the foundation of a project, right? Now, you have a project, you know the different parts of a project, a life cycle. There is an important part that how do you execute a project, right? That I know the different phases of a project. These are my phases here. And if I can tell you the typical SDLC is this, but how will you deliver it? Or I'll call it execution. So there are various ways. So one of them is known as waterfall method. Understand what I'm saying when I'm calling these terms execution of project. One is waterfall method and another one is agile. So you have one question here definitely being coming in your interview. Which methodology you have used to deliver your project? So you can tell them if you have used waterfall or you have used agile. But in typical scenario, nowadays you will see 7 to 70 to 80% of the projects being delivered in agile. Hardly 10 or 20% would be delivered in waterfall. There are some projects which are like hybrid, mix of both waterfall and agile. Now let's understand what is the meaning of agile or waterfall. But before I proceed, anyone has any doubt so far? Any question from anyone?
No, it's fine.
Nishant, this
Yes.
the role of BA is particularly when you discuss that it's involved in the earlier phases of a project. That is when you talk about in regards with ServiceNow. Am I correct?
Right.
But
Right.
if there are other projects of IT, not ServiceNow, or other infrastructure projects, the BA involvement is the same or is different. So what you explained is for ServiceNow perspective. Am I correct?
Yes, it's from ServiceNow perspective, but also if you look at the traditional way, you will find these roles and which are more or less same. Requirement gathering would be there, analysis would be there, designing would be there, development,
No,
testing,
that part is
deployment.
fine. But the role of
Mhm.
BA is
Mhm.
in other projects as well, like non-IT or IT projects which are not ServiceNow. The role of the BA will be the same.
if you're talking about SDLC, software development, it will be same. But if it is not related to IT, then you will have to understand the nature of ask. You understand? If you bring a marketing project, so we might not run it the way we are doing it uh, in this software. That's a different task altogether.
I understand.
Does
It
it make
basically
sense?
is for, yeah, it's basic for SDLC
Mhm.
projects, software
Right, software
development and project.
development, right?
Got it, got it.
Okay, anyone heard about this term, waterfall or agile?
Yes, I did. Both of them. Yeah, we work that. These are the only two ways you do a project. Either you do it waterfall method or you do it
Mhm.
Scrum based agile method. In
Right.
waterfall, you go plan by plan. In
Mhm.
in the agile, you are changing all the time, and this is iteration based. You have user
Right,
backlog and user stories are created, and you deliver something in one iteration or couple of iterations. So
right,
two
right.
different, yeah.
Okay, so waterfall method is a method. Suppose all the phases that we discussed, like requirement gathering, then designing, after then there is development, testing, and then deployment, right? So this is a sequence. So first you will do requirement gathering, then you will hop on to designing, development, testing, deployment, which is fine. This is what we have uh, discussed before. But what is traditionally is that once you move to requirement gathering, you have completed requirement gathering, you are here, you cannot go back to the previous one. Or once you completed designing, you cannot come here. Once you completed development, you cannot come to designing. It means that at this point, if you have maybe they're saying that you have 20 requirements to be completed. So you will do a requirement gathering. Here also it will be 20. Dev also it will be like development of these 20. Testing would be also 20. But any point there is no scope that it can become 21, or uh, if any of these requirement needs to there should be a change, it is not possible. So at any point, if you want to make a change, you can only make a change after we moved into deployment and we are doing a next release.
So can we say that the waterfall has a fixed scope, while in
Exactly.
agile the scope can change throughout the project?
Right. Right. Because in agile, or maybe I'll cover it soon, but for now, just understand each phase it's a linear and sequential approach. Each phase must be completed before the next begins. This is a flow usually. Now, what are the advantages? That you know your scope right from starting to end, and you know that it is not going to change. But uh, the part is that whatever you have documented earlier, it will remain same. Now, the limitation is also the same thing, that since you cannot change anything, so in case there is a requirement wherein you feel like this requirement is not fitting best here, you want to make a change, you cannot. That is where we have agile. So in older ServiceNow implementation, waterfall was common, but nowadays agile dominates. But fundamentals remain same. What are the fundamentals? About requirements, development, and testing. This is still same, but just a slight change about how we can adopt to the changing requirements from the client. So we'll cover agile. Let me see if we can cover today. And okay, now since we have talked about these different phases of a project, now understand the different meetings that you're gonna organize. So initial call is known as kickoff meeting. Now understand these different terms. Kickoff meeting is the first call wherein you will have the first introduction with your client. They will share the expectations, right? You need to understand their expectation, be in align with those objectives. Project manager will introduce about, what is the project, or maybe client will tell you what is the project. He will define scope. So you will be a listener here, right? But as and when you move to the next calls, which is called discovery calls or workshop call, here starts the process of understanding their process and gathering the requirements. So you will start leading the documentations and clarification. Then you will have, once you have done the complete requirement gathering, designing is done, sign-offs are done, or maybe user stories are created, then comes the daily meetings or stand-ups, wherein you will track progress, like what is the update, how much of we have completed, is there any blocker, if we need any help, right? Then there is one meeting called leadership and governance meeting. In this meeting, your project manager will take updates from you and it will share with the leadership team. So you can present what are the progress, what are the risk areas, what are the dependencies, what are the assumptions. You can also pitch in and share those inputs about the project. Then I have approval meetings. Approval meetings are meetings wherein you might have um, a meeting with the stakeholders. You can have, you want to take sign off, you want to take approval. So you might have to bring in the documents, or maybe you can showcase and demo and secure sign off. Then you have UAT sessions. UAT sessions are to validate outcomes, to facilitate user testing and feedback. This you might not be there actively. Maybe you can create a group and then you can ask them to perform the testing. But in case they're stuck somewhere, you will have to go and help them with the right process. Then last part is closure and retrospective. It's like a review. Once a project is over, you want to capture what all went well, right? What are the things that you need to improve, and how you can share it with the other project so that they do not repeat these mistakes, or they can have a better project execution. So in a project, you will see these kind of meetings happening. These are the standard meetings that you can expect. If I can give you a project template, how it though I've already covered, but see, in the initiation phase, you have a project manager, you have business sponsor, this is your client, you will be there, and you will have uh, technical architect with you, right? So here you will have a high level scope. Then in the planning, once you've gathered the requirement, you will have SMEs, product owner. This is along BA, right? SMEs, product owner, and technical architect who will be there to help you with these gathering this process. Then comes the execution. In execution, you will have dev, QA, and someone from the counterpart of your dev QA from the client side. They will help you with all the technical details because this is their environment. They understand better. They can help you with certain blockers. Last part is your monitoring, which is where you will move everything to the next stage. Maybe there will be a governance team. They will change logs and all. Change management will be coming from here on. Then a UAT handover. So here you will have a client, project manager, and you will share all the completed work. I think we can cover agile as well, but let me see.
One
Fine, I think we
question,
can cover
Nishant.
agile.
Um,
Sure.
is this the project template that you showed? Is this only
Mhm.
applicable to Agile or to Waterfall as well? Because so far, what I understood, Waterfall does not cater to any change, or it's
Mhm.
very stagnant, I will say, and fixed
Right.
scope, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So is this
Okay, so
specific to, yeah.
no. In Agile, I'll tell you. Agile also will follow the same. But what I meant by that, the changes in Agile that is coming up. I have a dedicated see. Agile is coming up next. So I'll talk about Agile also. What is Agile? Agile is way of working. You need to understand, what is it that you can expect from a project, and it promotes continuous improvement and collaboration. What is the collaboration? That you will have a frequent meeting with a client, you will showcase them what is happening. It is like this is your complete work, this is your complete requirement, suppose, right? Or this is what I'll call it. So what is agile is that you will create a small portion and you will deliver this first. Then you will create another portion, you will deliver it. Then you will create another portion, you will deliver it. So this is the way that you want to create smaller portion and you will deliver it. Maybe not deliver everything in 3 to 4 months, but in 2 weeks, I will deliver a small components. This is known as sprint. This is, okay, it's blank. So here I'll have another 2 weeks, I'll deliver something. Then another 2 weeks, I'll deliver it, right? So this is how it works. I'll tell you about all of these things. So the focus here is on flexibility, collaboration, customer value, and quick delivery. That in smaller sprints, you have delivered a small component that this is working. Then second, this is working. Third, it is working. So at any point, if you see that, maybe there are 5 requirements or 4 requirements that you want to deliver it here. You want to make a change, maybe out of 4, 3 you can deliver. 1 you can see whether you want to accommodate it in the current sprint or you want to move it to the next. So here you can add 1 from the previous one. So this is how you can bring in the change or you can adopt to the changing requirements of the client. But there is a way that how do you accept those changes? We'll talk about how do you accept those changes in a while, right? Then if I can tell you the difference between agile and waterfall, waterfall is linear phases, agile is iterative cycle. What is iterative cycle? That diagram is coming up in the upcoming slides. Requirements are fixed in the starting, but requirements keep evolving. As in, you can change the requirement, you can enhance the requirement, you can add the requirements. Here you will have less customer interaction, and here it is more customer interaction, right? Uh, Slow to deliver value. This is frequent delivery. Since you're delivering everything in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so customer is getting to know, yes, something is being developed and we are going in the right direction. Here, it is difficult to incorporate any change. It is easy. Change is welcome. Now, in ServiceNow projects, Agile is preferred because requirements evolve during configurations. Like whenever you are doing the configuration, you are doing the development, if there is any change, those are welcomed. And in Agile, it is easily configured. If I can tell you about the 4 core values or the 4 principles, the Agile Manifesto, that they want to give individuals and interaction, that you want to connect with these individuals and they have a say of the individuals over process and tools. They want a working software rather than heavy documentation. They want customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. So these are the quick agile manifestos that will bring in the core values. These are the values that you will have interactions, you will have a working software, it is easy to respond to a change, and customer is already aware what is happening with the product, what is being developed. So the focus is always being on the working product rather than on documentation. So in a typical, right now I've just talked about 2 or 3 documentations here, like BRD, FRD, right? But if you go to a typical project or typical BA responsibilities, they have heavy documentation. But here you will see that rest of my user stories and everything is being tracked on a tool. Even that is being shared with the client. So client can anytime come and look at what is happening with all of those requirements. Let's go to the principles of agile. that you want to deliver early and continuously. You're welcoming changing requirements. You're working closely with stakeholders. You are delivering a working product frequently. You are keeping the process simple. And there is a retrospective. Retrospective is nothing but you will understand that what went well, what is the lessons that you have learned, and how you can improve in the upcoming projects. Now, in the agile itself, if I talk about, as we have talked about, that a project can be delivered in two ways. Either it's a waterfall or it's agile. In agile, how do we deliver a project? We use Scrum. Now, what is a Scrum? Here is a Scrum. It's the most widely used agile framework. So agile has frameworks. So one of them is Scrum. Scrum is being used in most of them. Then there is Safe Agile, and one of them is XP, that is Extreme Programming. These are not used much. This Scrum is used most of the projects. Now, here we need to understand what are the roles, different roles, what are the ceremonies. Ceremonies mean what are the different meetings, what are the artifacts, like how do we document, and then sprints. As I've been talking about the sprint from the previous class and the current class. So now you will understand what is a sprint. So BAs will collaborate heavy with product owner and dev team to refine stories and ensure clarity. Now, let's come to the Scrum roles. What are the different roles in a Scrum? One is a product owner who will have a clear understanding of what the product is, how the product will shape up, or what are the requirements of a product. Product owners are usually from the client side. They will give you the requirements, right? Then there is a Scrum Master. Scrum Master is someone who will facilitate these different meetings, daily Scrum, and then he will maintain a tool. Yesterday we talked about tools through which we can track all of our working. One of them was Jira, and in ServiceNow itself, we have agile development, right? Apart from them, there is one more tool known as Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps, or maybe in this tool, the only thing we will do is that we can track what is my user story. User story is a small component of a requirement. Who is the owner? And right now, at what stage he is into a user story? Like he is doing the analysis, or he is doing the development, or he is doing the testing, or he has completed it, right? So that's how the different components are there for a user story. So now understand, if I have a tool wherein I can track everything, my requirements are being captured, and I need to see what is happening with those requirements. So that is maintained in your, that who is checking it? Scrum Master. If Scrum Master is not there, so you can play that role. Then there are development teams, like who will actually develop, do the development, testing, they will deliver the products. And the last part is, what is the role of a BA? BA will help or support this product owner. They will also help in refining the backlog. I'll also come to the backlog. What is the meaning of backlog? And then they will understand what and why of a project. If I come to the next part, which is your Scrum ceremonies. So these are the different meetings. Scrum ceremony means what are the different Scrum meetings? You have one question on here as well. First part is, or maybe I can explain you with this part. So understand, see, this is a typical sprint cycle. So I have a product. In product, I have different requirements, right? Then these are my different sprints. Like I will have suppose here I have all the user stories. I am saying out of, maybe I have 50 user story, that in first sprint I will, now this sprint backlog is nothing but this diagram. right? So I'm saying in first sprint, I will deliver 3 stories, 2 stories. Here I will deliver 3. Here I will deliver 3. Each of these sprint is minimum 1, maximum 4 weeks. So first part is sprint planning. As I mentioned here, sprint planning, here we will discuss that if I am selecting a sprint, what all user stories will be there, who will be performing on it, what would be the time required, right? So that is it, I'll do in sprint planning. After that, I have a daily scrum. Suppose I have picked it for like 2 weeks. So on daily basis, I'll have a 15-minute stand-up call. In that stand-up call, I'll ask the owner of the story that tell me what is it that we did yesterday. Is there any blocker and what are we doing today? So quickly, just these 2-3 questions and then you will move forward. If there is any blocker, you will arrange a meeting and then you will try to resolve. After this is done, so far we have 2 meetings. One is sprint planning, then there is daily scrum.
So,
After this,
Nishant,
yes.
if I may ask, sorry to interrupt,
Mhm.
but the daily scrum is headed by the scrum master. So what is the role of BA in it? BA will attend the daily scrum, or there is no need?
Okay. So BA might attend the daily scrum or he may not, but understand here when I was talking about the stakeholders. So there, the possibility of having a scrum master in your team depends on the project funds and budget. If the client is saying, yes, we want to keep a scrum master, then you have a scrum master, then you might have a limited role. As in, you might not go on a daily basis, but whenever there is a question on the requirement, then you will be involved. But in case scrum master is not there, then you will be owning this responsibility. That BA would be conducting these uh, daily scrum and would be taking the updates. Usually, so far, I have only seen in 20% of the project only Scrum Master being there. Most of this is being headed by BA. Does
So,
that answer your question?
yeah, to some extent, yes. I mean, this is the agile method. So who is the PM in it? There is a PM,
Project manager is saying,
the project manager is there, right?
right.
So why doesn't he had the scrum meeting? It's all about the projects, right? So the scrum meetings, which is daily stand-ups, he will not attend it. Rather, he'll ask a BA to attend it if there is no
See,
scrum master. So
no, that is right. But understand, project manager will be there, but see, all the technical part, if I talk about a user story, project manager will not be involved in understanding that user story. Right. Since BA has written it, if there is any point that developer is stuck or somewhere, project manager will be there, but he might be playing the role of managing that resource is there, resource is not there. BA will be understanding if there is any scope creep or if there is any blocker or if any update is needed.
So the
So
role of PM is very limited in this case. If he just needs to arrange the resources and just administratively handle things, most of the
that
work
is what I'm
is.
saying. No, that is right. Uh, Salman, but you need to understand the type of projects, right? In ServiceNow, you can have multiple projects going on, and also the arrangement. Right now, there are 2 things. One is a standard thing that is a standard what you need to do, and then there is actual reality. So most of my classes are based on the experience that what you will be seeing in the project. Definitely, you're right that a project manager will there. He will be managing all of these scrum meetings and everything, but totally depends. At a time, you might see a project manager being involved in 2 or 3 projects. So it's not just arranging the meetings or arranging the resources. It looks easy, understanding that he's just managing resources, only leaves and everything. But it's not just managing leaves and everything. There is more to it. What is the budget? This is just 2 weeks. If a resource is there, if there is a new requirement coming up, how to maintain that pipeline, and then what are those requirements, and
Got
what
it.
is the budget allocated, right? So you
Yes,
will see
that
more coming to
budgeting.
it.
Correct. But if, for example, if you have a Scrum
Mm-hmm.
Master, then
Mm-hmm.
you said there is not much involvement during the stand-up meetings because Scrum Master will head the meeting. That is what a normal agile
Right,
daily Scrum
right,
is. But so the
right.
BA may or may
Mhm.
not attend, but Scrum Master will connect with him on the side to find if there is a
Correct.
requirement of it. But if the Scrum Master is not there, then BA
Mhm.
will take over the role of Scrum Master and then he has to conduct the daily Scrum. Am I right?
Right, right, right,
Right?
right, right. Correct. This project manager, scrum master, and BA role. You will not see all of these three being part of a project. One has to do either Scrum will come to the Scrum Master will come to PM or BA, depending on the workload in the project.
So there is a lot of overlap between all the roles, but depending on the reality in actual cases, it might be BA might do the Scrum Master role as well, and somehow do the project manager role as well, depending on budgets and scope, right?
Exactly, exactly. See, there are more roles as well. Like there is a product owner and there is a product manager as well. But understand, one single project will never have everything.
Nishad, I
So
have a quick
you will,
question.
yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I agree with you. In the reality,
Mhm,
of course, when the project going on, a lot of overlaps happen. Not PM is
mhm,
doing exactly what he or she is supposed to do, but this look like from your conversation, I find that project coordinator role is more like equal to BA thing actually. If I give example of the reality of the project, because
mhm.
project coordinator and project assistant managers are also doing the more or less same thing.
No. When I say BA, Scrum Master will never have knowledge of ServiceNow. Same is with project manager. BA will be there having a knowledge of ServiceNow, what exactly you want to draw on the board, on the ServiceNow or implement. That is where you will shine. You will stand out. So you are irreplaceable. It's not just ServiceNow, it's also the process.
So basically, it's
This
not a typical project. It's a ServiceNow project where BA is in a, he
exactly.
knows, you got it.
Base
I
base
understand.
is center of is standing in the center.
So yeah, for ServiceNow project, BA is the one who knows the product and he will
Right.
facilitate most of the thing. Got it. Thank you.
Exactly. Exactly. And Scrum Master also, he will, if at all of a client agrees to have a Scrum Master, then he will not just give Scrum Master to a dedicated project. He will be given at least two, three projects to run simultaneously. So all of those will be a different thing. We will just focus on our BA part. Okay, so this is our daily Scrum. Then sprint review. Sprint review is nothing but at the end of it, whatever we have delivered, we will have a meeting with the stakeholders. We'll share the summary of the sprint, what all we were able to deliver, what all we were not able to deliver, what are the blockers, and how we are making it to the next sprint. Then there is sprint retro. Sprint retro is nothing but all the best lessons, what worked well, what didn't work well. So these are your Scrum ceremonies. And if I can tell you about, since we have been talking about user stories, this I think yesterday also we covered. A users, you need to write a user stories that is clear, testable, and small enough to complete in one sprint. And there is an acceptance criteria given when then format. I'll we will do. We'll have I'll have a project and I'll tell you how to write a user stories, how to create it, how to write acceptance criteria. So for now, I'm just covering it so that you understand what is a user stories. Then these are the Scrum artifacts. There is a product backlog. Product backlog is nothing but it is like all the requirements are being captured here in the product backlog. Then there is a sprint backlog. Sprint, see, do not get confused with this backlog word. Backlog is nothing but I can call it a container and I'll call it requirements container or user stories container. Okay. Then there is uh, sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is, this is my sprint backlog. So I have different sprints. I have assigned stories there. And now comes the sprint board, or I can call it Scrum board. Here I'll decide that on a particular week, maybe right now, 20th Feb to maybe 7th March, like I'm saying 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, what all stories will, which sprint I'll pick and which stories will be there. So that I'll running here. So that is my sprint backlog. And increment is at this end, I have many stories. This is my sprint backlog when I've completed one sprint. So understand this is my whole product. So one part of, maybe one out of it, if it has 10 product, 10 parts, so 1 out of 10 is completed. So that is increment, product increment. So earlier I had a product which has 0 features. So right now I have product 1 which has this requirement. I mean, this functionality is being covered. Then product 2, this requirement. So this is known as product increment. And user stories is what we understood, that as a persona, I want this feature so that this will give me this value. So that is my user stories. This is my typical sprint. See, here I have different stories. They are being collected in the various sprint that I have decided. Then I picked one sprint. I went to the planning, implementation, review, and retrospective. Once it is completed, then one story is delivered, one sprint is delivered. Then second, fourth, fifth, sixth, and that is how a product is delivered within 2 or 3 months. So in Agile, what would have happened? That maybe 1 month starting phase, then maybe 1 month for development, 15 days for testing, then post UAT, and then you will be delivering in 3 months. So understand, at by the end of 3 months only you will get to know about the end product. But in this sprint, within first 2 weeks, you know some part of it, what is being delivered. Then slowly and gradually, you know it is coming up into a shape.
But
This is,
Nishant,
yes,
sorry,
tell me.
man.
Mhm.
Who decides what will be the product scope during that sprint? Is a collective decision by the team, or is the product owner who decides that we will do this part in this sprint or iteration? Whose decision is it?
Great question. So there are multiple scenarios here. One of the scenario is, suppose you want to implement incident, right? And for that you need some information. Or I'll tell you few basic things I will tell you. First thing is, you always want to pick, suppose you have 5 sprints, right? So in first sprint, you will try that you will want to deliver easy part first, right? So that you build a confidence, you understand that you are able to do it. Then in the second, you will take the another part, third, another, fourth, and then fifth. This is one way of classifying how, what is it that you want to deliver. Second thing is, you want to understand what is available. Suppose the meaning of availability is, suppose you have to do integration ServiceNow with, one is Workday and another is Jira. Now you have, one can say that I want to go ahead with Workday only. But the reality is, in Workday, I do not have all the permissions. Or maybe the information that I required is not being given to me. So right now the availability is Jira. Jira has a account created. I can take that account and I can create it. So also on the availability, wherein I have complete information. See, you have done the requirements, right? After requirements, when you are moving to the development, you cannot directly start to the development. There is a foundation that before development is started. What is the foundation that you need? One thing is you need proper data, right? You need proper access to ServiceNow. Third, you need all the uh, like other information. Like if you're using integration, then what is available? What are the methods being available? So once you have this information, then only you can proceed with the development. Correct? So if this information is not available for some piece of my requirement, so I'll skip it. I will do it the one which is available for me. Does it make sense? How do we decide? And who is going to help you with all of this
Yes.
information? This is the product owner from client side. That hey, instead of picking these three, I think Jira would be easy because I have account available, I have data there, and ServiceNow access is also provision. So you start with this. Meanwhile, while you complete this part, I'll arrange workday. Then I'll arrange another thing. So it always work in sync. That's how it is done. We'll come to this part as well. Like what are the technical things you require for a project to complete? For now, if I look back to today's session, we started with understanding what is a project, what are the different types of project, and then what are the your roles in different types. Then we looked at how do you execute a project, execution. We talked about waterfall. Then the other method, which is agile. In agile, we specifically talked about Scrum. What are the various meetings in Scrum and how a sprint works in a Scrum. Different phases and what all you will be delivering. Now, before I you know end this session, I would like to take your questions. Now, tell me your questions. I'll answer it, and then we'll wind up today's session. Anyone? Any question?
Yeah, I've got a question, Nishant. So can you go back to the presentation where you were showing the Scrum cycle and stuff? Because there is this product backlog and the sprint backlog. Where is this getting captured? Is this we are using any kind of tool, or is this getting captured in ServiceNow itself? Or are we maintaining any other document?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So there are various tools. Now it is up to the company which tool they're comfortable with. Since we are doing ServiceNow, and most of the ServiceNow customer would be using agile development. In ServiceNow, there is an application called Agile Development. There we will be capturing all of this information. Product backlog, sprint backlog, and user stories. Everything is being captured here. Some customers are using Jira, so you might be seeing it in Jira. Some are using Azure DevOps, so you will be seeing in Azure DevOps.
Okay.
From my experience, this is what the ratio is: 70%, 20%, and 10%. And why this number? This is obvious because most of my projects are ServiceNow. So why do I need a separate tool if I have something in ServiceNow itself? But understand, if you are able to do it in ServiceNow, it is easy for you to do it in Jira and Azure. On top of it, I have dedicated two classes. One class wherein we'll go all theory, whatever we have discussed right now, all of these user stories, Scrum artifacts, right? What is how to write a user stories? What are these different parts? So we'll do a complete theory in one class, and in a second class, we'll do a practical.
Nishant,
I'll bring a project. Yes.
I missed that part. So in ServiceNow, you collect the sprint backlog in a tool.
Yes.
It's called agile development?
Yes, agile development. So we'll come to it. I mentioned
thank you.
I have two classes wherein I'll have a practical session. you can do it with me, or you can later on do it with the recordings. I'll have a project created wherein I'll mention what are my user stories, how to write user stories, and how to run a sprint, how to create a sprint. We'll
Thanks.
do
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you.
Right. Why we are doing it? I'll cover you for Agile service now. Tomorrow, if client is says we do not have Agile, we have Jira. The concept remains same. This is same like whether you're using WhatsApp or you're using Instagram, but the chatting concept is same. You need one person here and then another person on the other side. You can send text, you can receive text. That is the concept. Similar with Agile. How to run it, whether you do it on ServiceNow, you do it on Jira or Azure, it remains same.
So there is another tool called Confluence. I'm not sure if it's related to service.
Confluence.
Yeah, what is that? If you can.
Confluence is a tool which is used for storing documents.
Storing documents.
So
Okay.
one way is that you can create a file, upload it. In Confluence, instead of uploading it, the content is being shared on a page. So you can, instead of having a document, you can directly visit that page and you will have all the information. But in ServiceNow, we
Thank
have
you.
knowledge management. Knowledge management has various pages. You can go there and look at those knowledge articles. I'll show you how this knowledge management looks like. It's part of ITSM. Any other question from anyone?
I do have another question, if I may.
Yes, please, please,
So
please.
yeah, talking about the documentation like the BRD, FRD, or let's say the user stories. So it's BA's job, but is there any defined timeline with respect to creation of those documentation? If yes, who defines that timeline?
Perfect. So remember, I think you have asked this question about project plan,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
project plan is nothing but understand. I'll your phase. We all know what are the different phases of a project. Like I'll call it phase one, phase two, phase three, phase four, phase five. In phase one, now it totally depends on the client. Some client are, organized. So they will give you a project plan, what they're expecting. Suppose if a project is for 2 months, so they will tell you that in 2 months, initial 2 weeks, I am giving for requirement gathering. In requirement gathering, my expectation is that you create a BRD, you create FRD, and this is what I'm doing it for phase one. Then they will tell you in phase two, they will also do this level of detailing, that who is the owner? The owner is a BA. Then they will tell you in phase two, I want to create user stories. What are the user stories? That it should be logged into a service now, and then acceptance criteria defined, and then approval, and then maybe technical design. Technical design will be done by technical architect, and here it's a BA in sync with PO and BA. So sometimes you will be given this types of project plan wherein you know that in how much time you will have to do it. But again, there is one more point to it, that how do we come to this timeline, that whether we need 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This is again on the basis of
There is a project intake process or any project intake meeting that happens?
right. So
Okay.
also it depends on the scope and what time is it being confirmed. So see, before a project comes to you, see, right now you are onboarded at this point that a project is being started. Project manager is there who will hire or who will onboard a BA, then developers, technical architect. But before even a project has come, there is a part like we'll call it pre-sales. Pre-sales is nothing but, suppose there is a client says that I have some requirements, and that requirement says that I want to implement ServiceNow. So he will float these, we call it RFP. RFP is known as request for proposal. request for proposal. So they will float a RFP in the market saying that this is our requirement, and they will call the vendors. So vendor will be there, they will participate, they will create a solution, they will tell that we can deliver it. Someone will tell the client that we can deliver it in maybe 1 year. Someone will come up with a plan that we can deliver it in 8 months. And then there will be negotiations happen. That there will be various rounds, first round, second, third, fourth, wherein they will tell that in how much time they will deliver it, what is the cost will be needed, what all resources will be there, how resources will be placed, that you want to do a onshore, offshore. Onshore is known as client location, and offshore is known as if you have to deliver it from some other country, that is known as offshore. So they will create a plan that what would be the ratios, who will be sitting at the client location, who will be sitting here. So all of this plan, once this is approved, so after like certain stages, client will select one vendor. Okay, now there is a dealing between client and that vendor. That's how a project is created. That yes, this is very high level. That maybe for next 6 months we will deliver it. That's when this project manager will get the idea that okay, this is my scope, this is how I have to deliver. Then based on that FDs that have been committed, that resources that have been committed, that we need 5 resources. That's when this hiring happens. Now you know how everything comes into a plan. So this is one way of bringing the project. The another way is the project is already there. Now since client is very happy with your performance, like maybe ITSM, you have done a very good job. Now he says, can you please do HRSD for me as well? So that is known as you are harvesting the project. You already have a project, you are making business from the current project itself. So one way is you are going into the market, bringing a project. Second way is you are harvesting the project. So that's how it happens.
Thank you.
Does it make sense? So from there, you will get a rough timeline. And that rough timeline is maybe you will create a plan that, okay, we'll take these 2 weeks and all. You will put some assumptions that this is the plan, but these are my assumptions. That if I do not get data, if I do not get right approvals, then we might extend our timelines. So you will always create a tentative plan. Any other question from anyone? Shashwati, does that answer your question?
Of course. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, if we do not have any question, then I would like to thank you very much for joining today's session, and would like to inform you that we will meet tomorrow, same time. That is Friday. The timing would be 8:30 p.m. And tomorrow would be our last class of the initial 3 classes that we have committed. And from next week onwards, we'll have regular classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this time. For your payments and everything, you can connect with Tia or Sudesh. They will help you with this part. So thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Till then,
Thank you,
bye.
Nishant.
Take care.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nishan. Thank you, Sudesh.
Thank you.